My grandmother died when I was 23. That was the moment everything changed. I was finishing my master's in architecture when I got the call. Gran had raised me after my parents passed in a car accident when I was 7. She was everything to me. Teacher, parent, best friend. When the lawyer read her will, I learned she'd left me her entire estate. A modest house in Portland, some savings, and a life insurance policy totaling $180,000. I cried for weeks. Not because of the money, because I would have given every penny back just to hear her laugh one more time. 6 months later, I met David at a coffee shop near campus. He was kind, steady, worked as a financial analyst. We dated for a year before he proposed. I said yes without hesitation. David seemed like the family I'd been missing since Gran passed. Then I met his mother. Carol arrived at our engagement dinner wearing a designer suit and a smile that didn't reach her eyes. She was a real estate agent, the kind who sized up property values before she sized up people. She hugged me, held me at arm's length, and said, "Welcome to the family, sweetheart. David's told me so much about you." What he'd apparently told her was that I had inherited money. The first comment came 3 weeks later. David and I were apartment hunting, looking at modest one-bedrooms in our budget. I'd kept my inheritance separate, invested most of it, wanting to be smart about Gran's gift to me. We were planning to save for a house together, build something that was ours. Carol called David that evening. I was sitting next to him on the couch when his phone rang. "Mom wants to know why we're looking at apartments," he said, covering the phone. "She thinks we should buy a house." "We've talked about this," I said. "We want to save up, get pre-approved for a mortgage we can afford together." David uncovered the phone. "Emma says, 'We're not ready yet, Mom.'" I couldn't hear her exact words, but I heard the tone. Sharp. Insistent. David's face changed. "I know you're a real estate agent, but yes, I understand the market is good right now." "Mom, I don't think." He handed me the phone. "Emma, dear." Carol's voice was sugar-sweet. "I was just telling David that it's silly for you two to waste money on rent when you could be building equity. With your inheritance, you could put down a substantial down payment." My stomach tightened. "Carol, that money is invested. David and I are planning our finances together." "Of course, sweetheart. But you're family now. Family money should benefit the family. I've already found 3 perfect properties in excellent neighborhoods. Let me send you the listings." "That's really not necessary." "I insist. This is what I do for a living, after all. Trust me. In this market, you need to act fast." She hung up before I could respond. David squeezed my hand. "She means well. She's just excited for us." That was the first time I heard him say it. It wouldn't be the last. The next day, Carol texted me 17 real estate listings. Every single one was $400,000 or more. Every single one required a down payment that would drain my entire inheritance. I didn't respond. She called that evening. "Did you see the listings? The Tudor on Hawthorne is perfect. 3 bedrooms. Great school district. You'll need it when the grandchildren come." "Carol, David and I aren't ready to buy yet." "Nonsense. You're sitting on $180,000 doing nothing with it. That's poor financial planning, dear." My jaw clenched. "It's actually invested in a diversified portfolio generating steady returns. Stocks are risky. Real estate is solid. Let me set up some showings this weekend." "No, thank you." Silence. Then, ice cold, "I'm trying to help you, Emma. But if you'd rather make mistakes with family money, I suppose that's your choice." Family money. That phrase lodged in my chest like a splinter. After she hung up, I told David we needed to talk. He listened, nodded, said all the right things. "I'll talk to her. Set some boundaries." 2 days later, Carol invited us to dinner at her house. David's father, Tom, was there. Quiet, pleasant, the kind of man who'd learned long ago to let Carol run the show. Over salmon and asparagus, Carol brought up the house hunt again. I found another property, a Craftsman in Laurelhurst. Below market value, we'd need to move quickly. "Mom," David said, his voice strained. "We've discussed this. Emma and I will buy when we're ready." Carol set down her fork. "David, sweetheart, I'm not trying to pressure anyone. I simply want to help you avoid the mistakes your father and I made. We rented for years, wasted so much money. Now, with Emma's inheritance, my inheritance," I interrupted, "is not available for a down payment right now." Carol blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" The money my grandmother left me is invested. David and I have a plan for our finances, and it doesn't include purchasing property this year." Tom cleared his throat uncomfortably. David stared at his plate. Carol smiled. It was the kind of smile that made my skin crawl. "Emma, dear, I don't think you understand how family works. When David and I merged our lives, everything became ours. That's what marriage means. Partnership. Your money is David's money. David's future is my concern as his mother. Therefore, how you spend that inheritance affects all of us." I stood up. "Excuse me. I need some air." David found me outside 10 minutes later. "I'm sorry. She's controlling. She's always been this way. She called my inheritance family money. She didn't mean it like that. How else could she mean it, David?" He ran his hands through his hair. "Look, let's just keep the peace. We don't have to buy a house. But maybe we could look at the listings? Just to make her feel included?" That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed listening to David breathe, wondering if I'd made a terrible mistake. The following Tuesday, I received an email from Carol. The subject line read, "For your future." Inside was a forwarded message from her financial advisor. Attached was a detailed investment plan showing how my $180,000 could be better allocated through Carol's recommended firm. The fees alone would have cost me $15,000 in the first year. I deleted it. She called an hour later. "Did you see my email?" I did. "I'm not interested in changing my investment strategy. Emma, I'm trying to help. You're young. You don't understand these things. Carol, I have a master's degree. I'm capable of managing my own finances. But why would you, when you have resources? My advisor has 40 years of experience. And 40% commission rates, apparently." The line went silent. When she spoke again, her voice had dropped its sweet pretense. "You're being ungrateful. I'm offering you professional guidance, and you're throwing it in my face. I didn't ask for your guidance. You married my son. That makes you my responsibility. I'm 24 years old, Carol. I'm not your responsibility." She hung up. David came home that evening carrying flowers. Mom called. "She's upset." "I know. Emma, she's just trying to help. She's trying to control my money. That's not fair. She means well." I looked at him, really looked at him. "David, do you think my inheritance is family money?" He hesitated. That hesitation told me everything. I think when we get married, we'll combine finances, right? So technically, my grandmother left that money to me. Not to us. Not to your mother. To me. But we're getting married. We haven't even set a date yet." His face fell. "Are you saying you don't trust me?" "I'm saying I don't trust your mother. And I'm starting to wonder if you'll ever stand up to her." We didn't speak for the rest of the night. The next week, I noticed something odd. Mail from my investment firm, which should have come to my apartment, arrived opened at David's parents' house. We'd had Sunday dinner there, and Carol handed it to me casually. "This came to our address by mistake, dear." The mailman must have gotten confused. My hands shook as I took the envelope. The seal was broken. "This is my financial statement." "Is it?" I didn't look inside. "I just saw your name and saved it for you." She was lying. I could see it in her eyes. That night, I called my investment firm and confirmed my mailing address. It was correct. There was no reason my mail should have gone to Carol's house. Unless someone had submitted a change of address request. I pulled my credit report the next morning. There, dated 2 weeks earlier, was an inquiry from Carol's financial advisory firm. I'd never authorized them to check my credit. My stomach dropped. I called David immediately. "Your mother accessed my credit report." "What?" "That's impossible. It's right here. Her advisor's firm ran my information 2 weeks ago." Silence. Then, maybe it was a mistake. "David, this is fraud. This is illegal. Emma, let's not jump to conclusions. I'll talk to her. I'm done with you talking to her. I'm freezing my credit and filing a complaint. Please don't. She's my mother. Can't we work this out as a family?" That word again. Family. "I'll deal with her myself," I said, and hung up. I spent the afternoon documenting everything. Saved every email, every text message, every voicemail. I contacted the credit bureaus and placed fraud alerts. I called my bank and added verbal passwords to my accounts. Then I called a lawyer. His name was Martin Chen. He specialized in elder financial abuse, but he listened to my situation carefully. "This isn't uncommon," he said. family members who feel entitled to money that isn't theirs. The credit inquiry is definitely illegal. The question is, do you want to press charges? I want her to stop. A cease and desist letter might be enough, but I'd recommend going further. Prepare for escalation. People like this don't back down easily. He was right. That Friday, I received a notification from my bank. Someone had attempted to add themselves as a joint account holder to my investment account. The request was denied because it required in-person verification, but the attempt had been made. The name on the request was Carol Henderson. I called Martin immediately. He drew up legal paperwork that afternoon. A cease and desist letter. A formal complaint to the credit bureaus. Documentation of the attempted fraud. You'll need to serve this in person, Martin said. Make sure there are witnesses. I have an idea, I told him. The following Sunday was Mother's Day. Carol had invited David and me to brunch at her house. Extended family would be there. David's aunts, uncles, cousins, 20 people, minimum. Perfect. I showed up carrying a gift bag. David squeezed my hand as we walked to the door. Thank you for coming. I know things have been tense. This will be good. A fresh start. I smiled and said nothing. Carol greeted us in a flowing dress, all warmth and charm. Emma, sweetheart, I'm so glad you're here. I was worried after our little misunderstanding. Wouldn't miss it, I said, handing her the gift bag. Her eyes lit up. Oh, you shouldn't have. The room filled with family members settling in for brunch. Mimosas flowed. Laughter echoed. Carol set my gift on the side table, planning to open it later with the other presents. I cleared my throat. Carol, would you mind opening yours now? I'd really love to see your reaction. She beamed. Of course, dear. The room quieted as she pulled out the tissue paper. Inside was a card. She opened it, still smiling. Her face went white. What is it, Mom? David asked. Carol's hands trembled. She looked at me, then at the paper, then back at me. Would you like to read it aloud? I asked sweetly. Or should I? Tom took the card from her frozen fingers. His eyebrows shot up. What's going on? David's Aunt Barbara asked. I spoke clearly, making sure everyone could hear. Carol, inside that card is a cease and desist letter from my attorney. It documents your illegal access to my credit report, your attempt to add yourself to my bank account, and your harassment regarding my inheritance. If you make any further attempt to access my financial information or contact me regarding my money, I will file formal charges for fraud and identity theft. The room went dead silent. Carol's mouth opened and closed. This is absurd. I was trying to help. You submitted a fraudulent request to become a joint account holder on my investment account. That's not helping. That's a felony. David grabbed my arm. Emma, what are you doing? I pulled away. I'm setting boundaries. Something you should have done months ago. Barbara gasped. Uncle Joe muttered something under his breath. Tom stood up, his face red. Carol found her voice. How dare you? I welcomed you into this family. And this is how you repay me? By protecting myself from identity theft? Yes. That's exactly how I repay attempted fraud. I did no such thing. I pulled out my phone, opened my email, and displayed the screen. This is the denial notification from my bank. It includes your name, your social security number, and the date you submitted the request. Would you like me to send this to everyone here? Or would you prefer to sign the acknowledgement page in that card admitting you'll cease all contact regarding my finances? Her face cycled through shock, rage, and finally, calculation. She looked at Tom, at David, at her sisters watching from the dining room. Fine, she hissed. Give me a pen. I handed her one. She signed the document with shaking hands, her signature barely legible. Thank you, I said, taking the paper and sliding it into my purse. Happy Mother's Day, Carol. I walked out. David followed, calling my name, but I didn't stop until I reached my car. He caught up as I unlocked the door. Emma, please, we can fix this. How, David? Your mother tried to steal from me, and you knew something was wrong. You felt it. But you chose keeping the peace over protecting me. She's my mother, and I was supposed to be your wife. Past tense. His face crumpled. You're breaking up with me? I'm choosing myself. Something you should try sometime. I drove away. In my rearview mirror, I saw him standing in his parents' driveway, looking lost. That night, David called 14 times. I didn't answer. His texts ranged from apologetic to angry to desperate. I blocked his number. Tom called the next morning. "Emma, I need to apologize. I knew Carol was overstepping. I should have said something. I've spent 30 years keeping the peace. It's a hard habit to break." "I understand," I said, "but I can't be part of a family that operates this way." "I know." For what it's worth, I told her she was wrong. She's furious, but she's also scared. She knows she crossed a line. She crossed several lines. She did. I'm sorry you had to be the one to stop her. David should have done it. After he hung up, I sat with my coffee and thought about David. Sweet, conflict-avoidant David. The man who chose his mother's comfort over my safety. Part of me grieved. Part of me felt relieved. Mostly, I felt free. 2 weeks later, Martin called. Carol's attorney reached out. They want to settle quietly. No charges filed, in exchange for Carol agreeing to a restraining order regarding your financial information. I want it in writing. Notarized. Already done. You just need to sign. I met Martin at his office that afternoon. The document was thorough. Carol was prohibited from contacting my financial institutions, accessing my credit, or discussing my inheritance with anyone. Violation would result in immediate prosecution. I signed it. Carol's signature was already there, witnessed and dated. She must be livid, I said. Martin smiled. Her attorney said she hasn't stopped ranting, but she's more afraid of fraud charges than she is angry at you. Rich people hate public scandals. A month passed. David sent one last email. "I've been in therapy. My therapist says I have codependency issues with my mother. I'm working on it. I know I can't undo what happened, but I want you to know I'm trying to change. Not for you. For myself. You deserved better. I'm sorry I couldn't be that person." I didn't respond, but I hoped he meant it. Not for me, for whatever woman came next. I threw myself into my work, finished my thesis, graduated with honors, accepted a job at an architecture firm in Seattle, far from Portland and Carol's sphere of influence. 6 months later, I was having dinner with my college roommate, Jess, when she asked, "Do you regret it? Walking away from David?" I thought about it, really thought. "No," I said finally. "I regret not seeing the red flags sooner. I regret wasting a year on someone who couldn't stand up for me. But walking away? That's the best decision I ever made. Even though you lost the relationship, I didn't lose anything. I gained myself back." Jess raised her glass. "To boundaries." I clinked mine against hers. "To boundaries." That night, I thought about Gran. About how she'd worked 2 jobs to raise me. How she'd scrimped and saved to leave me something. How she'd trusted me to be smart, to be strong, to protect what was mine. I'd honored that trust, not by hoarding her gift, but by refusing to let someone else control it. I pulled up my investment account on my phone. The balance had grown. Slow, steady growth. Exactly as planned. I whispered to the screen, to Gran, wherever she was, "Thank you for teaching me. My worth isn't negotiable." The following Mother's Day, I bought flowers and drove to Gran's grave. I sat on the grass, told her everything. About Carol, about David, about standing up for myself. "You would have been proud," I said to the headstone. "Or maybe you wouldn't have been surprised. You always said I had your stubborn streak." The wind rustled through the cemetery trees. Somewhere, a bird sang. I left the flowers and drove home. My apartment was small but mine. My job was challenging but fulfilling. My life was quiet but peaceful. No one was demanding access to my accounts. No one was calling my inheritance family money. No one was making me feel guilty for protecting what was mine. I poured a glass of wine, opened my laptop, and started sketching a design for a community center. Pro bono work. Something to give back. Because Gran's money wasn't just about protecting it. It was about using it wisely. Investing it. Growing it. And yes, eventually, sharing it. But on my terms, with people I chose. In ways that honored her memory. Not because someone demanded it. Not because someone felt entitled to it. But because I decided it was right. That's what boundaries are. Not walls to keep everyone out. But gates that I control. I decide who enters. I decide what I share. I decide when enough is enough. Carol taught me that lesson, though she never intended to. David taught me another. Love without respect isn't love at all. And Gran taught me the most important lesson. Even after she was gone, my worth isn't determined by how much I give away. It's determined by how fiercely I protect what matters. I saved the design file and closed my laptop. Tomorrow, I'd present it to the community board. They'd probably approve it. We'd break ground in the spring. The center would have a library, a garden, a room for art classes, and a small plaque by the entrance. In memory of Margaret Chen, she believed in building foundations that last. That's what Gran gave me. Not just money, a foundation, and I'd be damned if I let anyone shake it.